Sorry. I haven't talked much today, apparently. In fact, I think that was the first thing that my voice said out loud, and so you guys heard that little confusion from saying hello. Anyway, I wanted to do a Q&A for anyone that was available online, but also I kind of wanted to just make this video to talk a little bit about my offerings too, since I haven't made a video about it aside from the one that I just sort of explained with text over the words. But if anyone's on, wants to say hello, please chat me and I can respond to your comments. Also wanted to say thank you so much for any new subscribers or any recent subscribers and old subscribers as well who've just been around and motivated me. I read all of your comments. I've been, the past month in particular, very bad at responding to comments lately because I've been just focused so much on other things I need to do in my personal life that I haven't been able to be online as much. But I really freaking appreciate it. And so, yeah, I don't really know what else to say to that because I sort of feel like there's nothing I could possibly say to sincerely show my gratitude in a way that I think will seem sincere. I don't know if that makes sense or if it's just in my head, but like, it's one of those things, where for any of you guys that have graduated high school, that is an accomplishment. But when you are graduating high school and everyone's telling you, congrats, like, good job, you're sort of like, I mean, yeah, I guess, thanks, but it wasn't that hard. But it's like, you have to remember that when you're telling someone, congrats for graduating high school, that you are also telling them congrats for kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, all those grades. But to you, it feels like just another grade, just another thing. But I don't know if that makes sense. Hi, Anna. How's it going? But yeah, for me, it's harder to emotionally express how much it matters to me every time I get a new subscriber, because as I keep doing this, it becomes more routine, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't mean the same amount to me deep down, if that makes sense. It's just more the expressing part and not knowing how to show each of you how much I care that changes, if that makes sense. But anyway, I wanted to also let you guys know that I have a VIP private Facebook group option available that is $10 a month. And I wanted to let you guys know this here because as my free Facebook group, Personality Typology for Self-Growth, has been growing, and as my YouTube has been growing, I've been getting a lot more of you guys reaching out to me personally, whether that be on YouTube or on Facebook or on Twitter or anything like that. And hey, Astro Bro, how's it going? And hey, Orla, hey, Lucid Dreamer, hey, Austin. It's so great to see you guys, Constanza, and I already said hi to Anna, but all of you guys, thank you. I wanted to just let you guys know that as I'm having more and more people reach out to me one-on-one, wanting individual help, it's been harder for me to get back to you. And curated opinions, yeah, no worries. I'm curious why you don't like Facebook or your thoughts on that, if you'd like to elaborate. But okay, so I've had a hard time explaining, I guess, what I want this $10 a month Facebook group to be. I've advertised it on my Patreon, which I'll send the link right now to you guys. I've advertised it as, you know, a cognitive study group, weekly Q&As, live Q&As in my Facebook group, and the fact that your video requests and your questions will get priority over any others. And I post in there from 3 to 5 times a week. So let me post it. But the reason why I created this group really was that I wanted a place where you, if you're in that group, you have access to my energy, if that makes sense. Because with all of the people reaching out to me and all of I don't want to just reach out and say, oh, hey, thanks. Like, I want to be able to give you a thoughtful response. And especially if you have a question, I want to be able to give you a thoughtful answer. The reason why I have set up these payment options is to support the ability to continue to do that. And I know that some people have like sort of a view that like, they might view that as like being a sellout or something. Whenever people or YouTubers or anyone has like payment options, you might not understand why people do that. And it's because if I spend multiple hours a day responding and talking to you guys, then that energy takes away from the energy that I could be making towards supporting myself and making money. But the thing is that I don't do any of this for the money. I just love doing this so much that I need, what am I trying to say? I need to be able to figure out how to support myself and also how to better rationalize whenever I'm giving my energy away to people. And so that's why I've started my cognitive consulting, like one-on-one life coaching sessions, which has been going really well. And those are priced at $150 for a 90-minute session. But if you do choose to join my $10 a month Facebook group, then you get like a 10% discount on coaching. So I would recommend, if you like want to talk to me and you have like specific questions for me and you just want access to my energy in general, and you have video ideas that you want me to do, you like want my thoughts on specific things, or you just like want to talk more about typology in general, I would recommend the Facebook group before I would recommend the one-on-one coaching thing, because that way, like, I know, like, right now I'm pretty much guaranteeing that if you post in that Facebook group, then I'm going to respond to you and I'm going to let you know my thoughts on something. And I really wanted to create that space where I feel like, you are valuing me and I'm valuing you. It's like more of a symbiotic relationship, because I've found myself, ever since I've been doing the personality type stuff on YouTube, that there are a lot of people reaching out to me that I feel like just want to take my energy without giving anything in return, which is fine. There are lots of relationships like that, and there are lots of times where that is the case. Just in general, like, humans are born being dependent on their mom and dad to take care of them. And so not all relationships have to be 100% equal in the sense, like, when it comes to giving and getting. But I at least wanted to be able to feel better about my time well spent. Because I guarantee you, if you pay the $10 an hour and join my Facebook group, then the amount of energy that I'm going to be putting toward you is going to be still like, I'm going to be making like less than minimum wage probably off of it. Like, it's still like for me to do, like, for fun. But I just want to be able to feel better about giving away my time and energy, if that makes sense. And so I've done like the live videos in there. It just doesn't get as many questions as much as it doesn't get as many questions or feedback as much as I do here. And so that's kind of why I'm wanting to advertise it more here, so that people can join if they're interested. Somebody said something about MySpace and wanted to see my MySpace face. If you care, I'm gonna find a pic of me from middle school making a MySpace face, and I'll show you. You heard it here first. There was a question from Anna saying, what was school like for an extroverted feeling dominant? So actually, before I get into that, just one last thing about the Facebook group. What I'm going to do, I've been thinking about doing premium videos. I've been toying with the idea of doing like a 1 hour long video of like INFP relationship tips or something like an hour-long, like, deep dive video in sort of my commonly asked questions. But it doesn't feel right to give some of those things away for free just because I feel like, oh my God, emotionally, all of the emotional labor it takes for me to answer certain questions. Because honestly, for me, the sort of videos I like to do are off the cuff and just like for fun, like me talking with you. But whenever I have to really think about what I want to say, it could take me 2 weeks to think about or to process because I want it to be accurate and correct. But so I know there are some YouTubers that do this thing where they will like charge like $5 or something for like a full video that like really answers their question. I've been thinking about doing that, and I might do that. But then I got the idea recently that I am wanting to, if I just post those types of videos in my Facebook group from now on, then what you could do is if you become a patron and join that group, then it's $10 a month, and I'm going to eventually be also posting videos in there. And you know, it's a process. I'm taking everything one day at a time, but what I think would really be fun and like a good model for me would be like eventually, like it's still going to stay like a low price, but eventually you'll be like joining and like have hours of content in there too, that I won't share anywhere else, just because I sort of want that sort of symbiotic relationship. For me to spend all of the time to answer certain questions, I want it to feel like we're valuing each other equally. So anyway, I'm going to find a MySpace photo because why not? I loved MySpace back in the day, but my issue was that whenever I was like 12 years old, I really wanted an Xanga, and my parents didn't let me get an Xanga until I think I might have gotten an Xanga when I was 12. Okay, so when I was 11, I wanted an Xanga, and by the time I got an Xanga, I was 12, and by that time, MySpace was popular, and all of my friends were moving on to MySpace, and so it was like, what the hell? And so then when I joined MySpace, all of my friends were getting on Facebook. So that's what you get whenever I have a July birthday. I'm a Leo, LOL. But when I have a July birthday, I was like younger than all of my friends. Don't worry, I'm whipping out the MySpace photo. Yeah. So, oh, and Anna was asking me what I was like in school as extroverted feeling dominant. My parents both really valued school. And my dad always told me like how important it was to get an education. And he pretty much told me from a young age that I was going to college. That was pretty much like no doubt. Like just based on how I was raised, it was pretty much like you're going to college. My dad also always convinced me that I should try and go to law school, which I still like have considered, but like I just don't think it's really me. I don't really think it would be useful. I think I could be a lawyer. Like I care about politics and I understood law, and like I even bought like the LSAT book, and I enjoy those sorts of logical problems. Like I actually feel like a lot of like the LSAT tests books or whatever is like kind of like using TI and like NI. Like it's definitely, it would probably come easier for like an NTJ or an NTP just in general. But like, I do think that a lot of those logic questions are very TI or really just testing intuition. I don't know, but like either way, like I pretty much succeeded in like the test books and I enjoyed those sort of questions. Like I feel like I would have done better at the LSAT than the GRE. And I found a master's program that didn't require the GRE. From what I can tell, I would have sucked at it. I really hated the ACT. I don't really like whenever things expect you to memorize things and then like regurgitate the info. But the thing I liked about the LSAT is that it was pretty much just testing your ability to reason, which I'm just way better at. So I feel like it is sort of TI or TE. But in school, I care. Yeah, exactly. The job market's not well designed for feelers, but I feel like feelers have a lot to offer businesses in very tangible ways. But the ways of showing our the ways of showing our worth and our value aren't very accurate, if that makes sense. So here is this photo from 2008 that I think was on my MySpace. So there you go. And then here's like this mirror selfie. My freaking retainer. Love that retainer. Gotta love it. That was like a look because it was like, hey, like I got my braces off recently. Okay, like sort of thing. And then literally the peace sign was like such a thing. Like, I don't know. Like, is that cultural appropriation? I really don't know. Like, this was me like going to tennis practice because I was trying to be sporty. Like, I like was like, oh my gosh, like I can't play any sport. I tried every single sport and I just sucked miserably at it. But then I was like, I need thanks. I need to learn a sport. And so tennis honestly was a huge way for me to like use my extroverted sensing because I forced myself to learn, and it's still to this day like my favorite sport. I played freshman, sophomore, and junior year of high school, and then I quit senior year. Yes, I'm an ENFJ. But yeah, just I guess to more answer the question directly, as an FE dominant in school, I did care a lot about friends and feeling like I fit in at school. And if I didn't feel like I fit in at school or I didn't like the people in my classes, like I was probably more likely to dread school and like not pay attention. That was a big thing for me. But to me, the teachers typically liked me. There's been times I've been kind of like a teacher's pet where like me wanting to do good in school was about not wanting to let my teacher down because they believed in me, and also not wanting to let my parents down. But I cared a lot about how I was perceived. I mean, like, I feel like I'm just naturally smart, but also because I worked on it. But like, it's not the same as like, wouldn't say that me as an ENFJ was just like naturally good at school, because I'm pretty sure that like the school system was freaking terrible on me. I was very lucky enough to, in preschool, have a Montessori, went to a Montessori preschool. And if you guys don't know what Montessori is, it's pretty much the type of learning and education where you kind of like teach yourself. And there are some new like innovative schooling models that are popping up everywhere recently. I feel like I would have succeeded way better doing like a project-based learning school, which if you've heard of that, it's pretty much like different subjects molding together to create like one final project where like you'd have to use math, you'd have to use history, you'd have to use other things together to complete the project. I feel like I would have succeeded in something like that. And I would have succeeded in Montessori sort of schooling, like do it yourself. If I would have gone to that in like middle school or high school, that would have been amazing. But I was the sort of student where whenever I did Montessori preschool, I like pretty much learned how to read at age 4 because I loved reading, and it was like this sort of environment where like you could play with tools, you could paint, you could read, you could do whatever you wanted, but there were teachers there that you could ask them questions, they'd help you. And I pretty much sat outside and read all day. I just like loved reading. So yeah, but I hated ACT tests and stuff like that. And I feel like college is harder in general than high school. But for me, I got pretty much like all A's in high school because I would do all of the assignments. I would participate in class. I did everything I was supposed to do, but then I would do less as good on the tests as that. But a lot of the ways that people calculate things in college is pretty much only on the tests. And so if I would participate and I would show up and I would study and I would do the reading, it didn't matter as much for the end grade. And I think that college a lot of times requires more extroverted thinking of being able to like demonstrate like your work and like memorize things. Like, I took this one class, like communication law in college, and it was the only class I failed. And I was so upset because I loved that class. I was so interested in the lectures, and I was so interested in what it meant. I would think about it, and it would spark so many great conversations with my friends. And the teacher, I believe, is an ESTJ. And I studied with a bunch of ENFPs, and they would, when we were studying together, I felt like, man, I know way more than them, because they don't even know why this law was created. They just know that the law was created. They didn't seem to understand the NI trend of how communication law has changed over time, and like the reasons why these things happen. And I pretty much took away with an understanding of like, okay, I'm a journalist, or like going to school for journalism. This is what I'm going to need to know. I need to know, if I'm on a sidewalk, then I can take a photo if I'm in a public place or whatever. Like, those are the sort of things I took away from. And then the actual test was like, what year, okay, what law, what was the name of like the court case, and what year was like this law formed? And it baffled me how all these ENFPs that I studied with like did well on the test, and I didn't. And it was because it required more TE and SI. And I honestly, people who use NE in school, I've been pretty jealous of. Not that the schooling system is that great for NE types, but like a lot of NPs that I've known have been able to just like completely do like a crash course right before the test, and then just like remember things, and somehow it works. I don't know, but I was so mad when taking those tests that I would not remember the year. There's just so much to remember that I don't even know how we were expected to remember those little details. I would like write in the margins like, no, I don't know what the year of this, but I do know that it inspired this, 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 this. Like, I was trying to like show my NI like in TI on the side, just in case maybe I got brownie points, but it didn't work. Anyway, now I'm going to catch up on these comments. Which ESTJ on YouTube? I'm curious what you thought. And I've noticed that there are, a lot of similarities between EJs in general. An ESTJ on YouTube that I believe is an ESTJ is Unnatural Vegan. If anyone's curious about that, I really like watching her videos because she's really well spoken about veganism, and she is very research based, and she very much challenges popular opinion and is very critical of the sort of FE movement of veganism, and shares like facts, and really interesting to watch, in my opinion. Yeah, NE is very good at improvising examed. I'm looking at your guys' comments. I'm just not sure who you're all referring to. Yeah, lucid dreamer. I hate when education is presented in an SITE way. I made a video about this before, but I pretty much think that introverted thinking in general does not do that great at school. Well, really, I don't know. It's hard to say what type the schooling system is built for. Probably STJs in general. But like, the biggest problem I would say with the schooling system is that it is one size fits all, and that depending on like your teacher or your school district or what country you're from, for sure, is going to depend on how you interact with it. And maybe you'll have one teacher that's like, you know what, I learn like this, and so I'm going to try and teach like this. You're going to be missing people. And so I would never even say like, oh, the schooling system sucks as it is. Like, let's just change it to project-based learning, or let's change it to Montessori learning or whatever, because I'm not sure if an STJ would necessarily like that. Maybe STJs like how it is now. I don't know. The point is that it's not one size fits all. Let me try and look up this documentary I really liked. So there's this documentary called Most Likely to Succeed, and Wikipedia says, it is a feature-length documentary examining the history of education in the United States and revealing the growing shortcomings of conventional education and showcasing in today's innovative world. So I used to work at a place that would show this movie to groups of people, and so I've seen it a couple times. I'm really interested in innovation in education, but anyway, definitely I'll post the link because I would be curious what some of you guys think about what types like succeed in different types of education. Like I've said before that I think that the people that like my videos learn best through like conversation and just like soaking things up rather than me telling you like the definitions. And I personally learned about personality types best by watching examples of the personalities and watching them like talk and just observing them. And I also really liked how like DJ R&D explained things. I don't know if a lot of his videos are still up, but the way he explained things just made instant like sense to me. So yeah, Anna, you think you might have an NFJ sun. Advice for a sensor parent, if you think you have an intuitive child, would be to remember that your child is not overcomplicating things or making it difficult on themselves. They just have a different aspect of life and processing that is easier for them than you. Me, as an ESFJ mom, it's taken her a long time to really understand that that the things that are easy for her aren't easy for me, and vice versa. And I think thinking of it like that could be helpful. I've said before that intuitives understand the complex and then they understand the simple, whereas most people who are sensors understand the simple and they use that simple to build onto something complex. And so it can be hard for a sensor to honestly understand just how it works because it seems to be opposite. It seems to be counterintuitive and just weird, the way that intuitives could understand and grasp a theory, but not understand how the sensory world builds that or supports that theory. I can see Montessori as being catered towards FI types because it sort of has this whole idea of like, what do you want to learn? And you learn what you want to learn, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to DJ R&D or why he left, but honestly, it's because like since he uses the functions as me, like as a beta in socionics, I relate to ESTPs a lot. I actually think that functionally, when it comes to how we operate, I relate to ESTPs much more than any other type. Although on like a real level, when it comes to interacting, I probably relate with INFJs the most. But when it comes to just like watching how we interact to the world, like ESTPs, we are both responding to the SE and FE. And honestly, to be a YouTuber sharing your opinions and also knowing that sometimes your opinions are unpopular, it is freaking terrible. Like, to be attuned to the FE and SE and just realizing like how many people hate you like for no reason. Like, honestly, like, I'm scared that I'm gonna be like stalked or murdered or something by a hater or something one day. Like, I don't know why I keep doing it. Like, it's freaking terrible. Like, a lot of you guys suck. Like, a lot of you guys are amazing. But like, it takes some guts to do it, and especially when you are as aware of and as tuned in to the audience, the people, the way that FE and SE is. Where I feel like DJ R&D probably just like went on there to like shake things up, and then was not prepared to handle the FE of everyone. I don't know, like, it's terrible. Like, also, I think that ESTPs probably can tell themselves like, oh yeah, like, whatever, people don't bother me, but then like they don't anticipate how much the FE might affect them, because it will still affect you, just not as much. Like, you aren't as sensitive as like a feeler, but like you still are going to be affected greatly by the FE. So I'll have to look up Flight Boss Astrology. And I still have not ever looked up Michael Pierce, I don't think. So, okay, for any of you guys that are interested in astrology, and you want someone to watch or like listen to, someone I think is interesting is the Leo King, who I believe is an ESTP, is a really great example of understanding how introverted intuition shows up in the inferior function, and how intuition in general shows up in a sensor, because the way that he talks about astrology, something esoteric, is so sensory. Like, he talks about the planets as their energy. He talks about how they interact. He talks about astrology as though he's the weatherman telling you, all right, guys, this is what's going on in the energy. And it's very straightforward. Interesting. I really like Steve Judd, and I have not personally thought that much about his type, but I definitely see him as an INFP. That's yeah, for sure. I also think that Alyssa Sharp as an astrologer is an INFP. She mentioned it before in another video. I don't understand why I have not even seen Michael Pierce before. I'm subscribing to him now. If you're watching this, or if anyone tells him I watched this, I literally don't understand why this guy has never showed up on my recommended. But I have had lots of people tell me that I should watch him. And so I am now subscribed. Okay. Alyssa has said that she was an INFP in her videos, and I see it. I think that she uses a lot of NE in the videos and stuff, but the way that she just like disappeared all of a sudden from YouTube and was like, I am done doing things for other people, I need time to be alone, like, I feel like is a very like introvert thing to do, and a very IP thing to do. But the thing that's interesting to me about watching the Leo King is because he just how SE it all is. It makes it so much easier for me to really understand what's going on in astrology in the real world, and not just theorizing about it. And another thing, what was I going to say? The Peace Dealer. I don't know if any of you guys have watched him. I do not for the life of me know what his type is. I used to think he was an ISTP, and I used to think, but then now I wonder if he's an ENFJ even. I don't know if any of you guys have watched The Peace Dealer. I actually added him on Facebook, and I asked him, what is your personality type? And he said that he was an INT/FP. And I don't know if he is. It seems like he uses introverted thinking and extroverted sensing, honestly. I don't know. I don't know. I also think that the quietest revolution, Amber Khan, is an ENTJ. I don't know if any of you guys even watch these people, but just letting you know. Yeah, I'm trying to think about, so now as I guess I need to wrap this up here in a bit. So if anyone has any other questions, comment below and let me know. And I would love to see some of you in my Facebook group. It's really easy to join my VIP group I created. I posted the link to my Patreon, and you will pay like through Patreon. It's just $10 a month, and I will automatically add you to the group where you can then tag me and ask any question that you want, or be available for some of my other posts and stuff like that. Yeah, I've been told that I was mentioned in Dave Superpower's video. I still need to comment on their thank you or whatever. I didn't notice it at first until someone let me know, and I'm very humbled. I'm very touched because I have spoken with Dave personally, and he has given me really great advice and been very encouraging every time I've talked to him, and I really appreciate him and everything that he does. But man, I was just very humbled and touched that I was used on that video, because he could have used Oprah. He could have used somebody else as an ENFJ. And the thing that really meant a lot to me is that he included me in the video, because as almost like a shout out, and like shouting out my channel, that hopefully maybe some people that watch his channel might subscribe to me. I feel like that was just really nice of him, because he didn't have to do that. He could have said Oprah. He could have said some other ENFJ example. But anyway, so thank you, Dave, if you're watching this, although I'm probably, thank you for reminding me that I need to let him know that I say thank you. Yeah, the peace dealer, I don't know what his type is, like I said, but it's been really funny. Any of you guys into astrology, there's like beef between the peace dealer and Amber Khan, and I like both of them. And so I don't really know what to say with that. But, oh, Euro Lamb, I'm not an Aquarius, I'm a Leo. But I very much believe, I don't actually have any planets in Aquarius, but I very much believe that Leo and Aquarius, since they're opposites, are two sides to a coin. And so are they really that different? I'm not sure. That's at least how I think about astrology. Also, the last question I'll say, okay, sorry. Sometimes I got to organize what I say first, which is, I think, very NI of me. I've got to get going, because I actually have a cognitive consulting session. If you are interested in working with me and you would like to work one-on-one for like a coaching session, pretty much what I do is I just will help you apply your cognitive functions to, yes, I have Mars in the 11th house. So yeah. What was I saying? God damn it. With my cognitive consulting sessions, which I have to leave because I have a session scheduled right now, the purpose of it is self-growth and self-empowerment. I will literally work with you to identify your strengths that you should be maximizing, and your weaknesses, how to cover them up. And I will give examples of how to use your cognitive functions to do that, and share my recommendations of like what functions you could be doing and stuff like, or what functions you should be using, some things you could do to grow into your subconscious functions in a healthy way, without like being consumed by those functions. And so that's sort of the point of it. If you're curious, I have information on that linked below. But also, if you join my VIP Facebook group, like I mentioned, it's a great way to just sort of dip your toe in. And then also, if you do decide to ever get a one-on-one session with me, then that would be 10% off too. So anyway, but I'm very grateful for the 4,000 subscribers. And I'm sort of seeing this as a huge pivotal point in my life and how I'm doing things. when it comes to my channel, to be very honest, I have been obsessed with astrology for the last 2 months. I have not been thinking about Myers-Briggs. Thank you so much, the Awakened INFJ. I appreciate your comments so much. You're so supportive. And so yeah, I've been real talk obsessed with astrology. I'm going to start a Facebook group probably today, and so I'll link it below. I'm starting like a free Facebook group to talk about astrology and cognitive functions because I'm learning, and so it's not like me telling you how it is. It's going to be like us learning together because I'm still learning. But anyway, I also can see myself probably doing more videos about astrology now that I'm becoming more obsessed with it. But yeah, a trap that I've gotten in before is I will announce that I'm doing a series, and then like I won't feel inspired to do any other posts or videos until I complete the series, which then is stressful because sometimes I don't feel inspired. Like, for example, I still have to do the ISTP and ISTJ videos and what I learned from observing the ISTP and ISTJ. But I haven't thought of anything really compelling to say yet, and I'm kind of waiting for it to hit me. And I might just do it like that from now on, like just wait for it to hit me. I don't know. But I do know that a friend of mine, like a business acquaintance of mine, recently reached out to me, who is an INTJ, and asked me if I can help him with his business and understanding the personality types. And I was like, yeah, I just am not sure like how to do it. And he was like, yeah, he was like, oh, just come up with like a structure and then like we'll just do it and try it out. And I was like, but see, that's the thing. I don't know how to do a structure. And I was like, that's like the thing with my personality type is that I don't really know what you mean by that. And he was like, oh, you don't? And I was like, yeah, actually your type is better than that. And then we pretty much agreed that he's going to help me put together just like a business model, like just some sort of test to just try it out. And so that was really freaking awesome for that to happen because I really can see myself helping like companies or with the type stuff. I do eventually want to get Myers-Briggs certified just to say that I am. And because why not? But that's $2,000. Another thing, if you're not sure about joining my Facebook group, is that if you just want to support me, please do so. Because I don't have a Myers-Briggs certification because it costs $2,000. And you know what? I'm poor. Anyway, that's just it's really hard for me to ask for things. I love giving away things for free. I love it. I hate asking for things. I have terrible boundaries. That's like something that's so hard for me as an ENFJ. And so for me, I prioritize free information so much that no matter what sort of business model that I end up having to sustain myself, I know I want things to be free because I freaking love free information. Go watch Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. He does this business model and I freaking love it. I love how he always prioritizes free information. Anyway, what am I saying? I don't know. Do any other NFJs always do this thing where you're like, what was I saying? And you almost like expect somebody else to remind you. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Yes, I got some NFJs saying that they do it. I knew that was a thing. Do you guys follow my train of thought? Like, do you NFJs, whenever I'm going like from point to point, like follow like my train of thought? Because sometimes it stresses me out. Like, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, nobody understands what I'm talking about. Like, I must sound just as stressful as those ENFPs whenever they are going from tangent to tangent. But I feel like, at least for me, it's like I can sense the NI that is connecting it. And so it doesn't feel like that sporadic to me, but like maybe it does for you. Like, clearly I'm reflecting on my channel and my growth and stuff like that, which is what all of this has to do with. But yeah, I really want to prioritize having more people Oh, thanks. I always want to prioritize having more people on my channel. Like, I've been trying to reach out and schedule like one-on-one like talks I could do with people. Like, I kind of just like want to be a talk show host. I don't know, but like the thing is that I keep reaching out to people and then like not having the time to reach back out, and then I feel guilty, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, you shouldn't reach out unless you know for sure you're gonna have the energy. So that's another thing I get myself into. And another thing, oh, I know what I was gonna say, is the reason why I even brought up the fact that there is an INTJ guy that wants like to hire me to help his business is because he works with an ISFP, and he was like, what could you say about me getting along with an ISFP? And I just said like two things. I was just like, oh, well, you might have to ask your ISFP coworker what their opinion is and not just expect them to correct you, because they probably aren't going to. He was like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, that seems like it would work. I'm going to try it out and let you know. And it showed the value of that to me. So I know very soon I'm going to be working on a series of business advice for working with a certain type in a professional setting, because I feel like I have a lot I could say on that. And I also want to do a series about relationships, like working with each of the types. So comment on this video, any video ideas you have. I really like the idea of doing series, playlists, I don't know, call it. But the thing that holds me back is that then like I haven't been inspired to make another video because I feel like I should be completing the other ones, but I don't want to like complete it and have it suck. And like one time an ISTJ commented and asked me like, how come you always do us last, or how come there's no content on us? And it's like, well, because I don't want to make bad content. It's not that I don't like you ISTJs. It's just that I don't really have a lot of insights into your brain. And so who am I to tell you about it, if that makes sense? So if there are any ISTJs watching this who would want to connect with me and give me some insight into your brain, then maybe I would make more content about them. But anyway, I've got to get going. Thank you so much for watching this video, and please subscribe and have a lovely day.